When Donner first released the L1, I was immediately intrigued. As the video reviews started popping up, I knew I wanted to get a piece of the action. Now, although Donner and I have collaborated on video reviews in the past, specifically their great digital pianos, they didn't initially reach out to me to do a review of the L1. Instead, I reached out to my rep and I asked if I could take a chance to give my feedback on what I thought was a beautiful new take on a classic analog monosynth. That is, Donner's new rendition of the famed Roland SH-101 analog monosynth from the 1980s. Now that take is this video, and I hope it inspires you with some of the creative ways that I use the L1. First, to set the stage, the L1 is far more than just a remake of the SH-101. The detachable 32-key MIDI controller and keyboard makes portability an amazingly easy thing to do. Not only do you get a standalone MIDI controller that you can bring with the L1, but you don't even need the MIDI controller to use the L1 while on the go. And both are super easy to break apart and fit into a backpack to create anywhere you need to go. One of the most inspiring features of the L1 and monosynths like the L1 is the close to 1-to-1 ratio of the knobs to the functions. And so what that basically means is you've got a lot of controls and parameters on most synthesizers. Well, how many of those do you access through menus or diving through menus, clicking buttons and picking options? With a synthesizer like the L1, you've got a lot of your functions actually mapped out on the front panel as physical knobs and sliders. And I think that's one of the best ways to learn synthesis. It's one of the best ways to get your hands on a synthesizer for the first time, whether you're new or you have someone with you who is, but it really just brings the art form to life and it brings creativity under your fingertips. And so it's really easy to start diving in and creating complicated sound design, even with simple parameters like this, especially because you've got that tactile feel and you can really get your hands on it. You can see in just a few minutes, you can start moving those knobs and faders and get that instant result. And that's one of the most inspiring things about the L1 to me, and that's why I keep coming back to it. One of the creative workflows that I use the most with the L1 has to be the arpeggiator and the step sequencer. I find they're great ways to get the synth looping a simple melodic phrase, which then allows you the ability to focus on your sound design, which again is right in front of you with those hands-on one-to-one knob functions. Let's go ahead and set up an arpeggiator really quick to give you an idea what I'm talking about. We'll click down here to go to ARP. Let's just randomly pick some of these that we don't want to use, and we've removed some of those steps. We're going to press the hold button and let's go ahead and play something kind of random here. And you can see in just a few moments there, we've got a totally usable melodic pattern that allows us to dial right into sound design to start playing with those sounds. Now, of course, you can press one note at a time and figure it out that way, or in ARP mode, you can even hold down that note But I think letting the L1 loop while you go ahead and play with sound design is just one of the best ways to use this synthesizer, and it keeps me coming back and it keeps me inspired. Now, I don't want to get too deep into the weeds of the features on the synthesizer itself. The L1 has got a great LCD screen right there with plenty of lights and buttons, just highlighting those different functions there. And again, using these are super simple. But the other thing I want to highlight is the display and the lights on your actual controller here, the KB32. I love that. Again, not the most sensitive sensitive in the world, but those lights are so cool. And the little display, it's such a nice touch, and it's just amazing to see what Donner has done with this synthesizer. And one other thing I love to do with the Donner is use external effects or processing. You can actually go ahead and just run it through your DAW, whether it's Ableton Live in my case, or any other software, and add effects to your synth's input track. Obviously, this is going to widen your possibilities because it's a simple single oscillator analog monosynth. Now, once you get into time-based effects like delay or reverb or some distortion and stuff like that, you really open up your horizons of what's possible. And that's one of the most inspiring ways to use the L1. Now, in Ableton Live, I went ahead and put a simple echo on my L1 track. Let's hear how that sounds. Let's see if we can program that into a sequence. And you can see just adding a simple echo or delay widens your horizons like crazy. I mean, listen to this. It's super easy to throw on some effects. Let's try a couple more. Just a little bit of reverb, but again, takes that sound to the next level. Maybe it goes without saying, but one of my other most favorite ways to use the L1, it's a simple one, but it's just to play the keyboard. I think just diving in and not being afraid to play it, even though it's an analog monosynth, is a great way to get inspired with the L1. The other way I love to get really inspired with L1 and KB32 is with, hold on, guitar pedals. If you've never tried running an analog monosynth through electric guitar pedals, some of the best way to dive into sound design and new tones and effects and just a whole world of exploration that doesn't exist without devices like this. Now, certainly the world of pedals and loopers and analog monosynths is a vast one, so this is just going to touch the surface, but I went ahead and grabbed a delay pedal and an overdrive, and I just want to show you kind of some of what you can get out of a combination like this or a combination of other pedals with a synthesizer like the L1. Now, even in that scenario, I kind of broke the rules. I ran the delay pedal into the overdrive, but the nice thing about pedals and this kind of stuff is you can go wild. Let me show you one other combination. And the stuff I'm doing with the L1 is the same stuff I would do with my Moog Voyager or a similar analog monosynth. But with the L1, it's a lot more affordable and a lot more portable. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you really enjoyed it, and I hope you saw the L1 through a little bit more of a new lens. And if you've been considering an SH-101 or a clone in the past, you might look at the Donner L1. Like I said, it's not an exact clone. None of them really are, but this is a really great modern touch that I think is a lot of fun, super easy to use, and one of the most inspiring synthesizers I've used recently. Thanks again to Donner for sending out the L1 for this video. I do appreciate the support of every viewer, and if you found value in the video, please hit like so that the algorithm knows it was a good video. And I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.